Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I will, in this video, provide my lesbian reaction, and it will be regarding a young lady who refers to herself as an ex-lesbian masculine stud. So she no longer identifies as a lesbian, and she no longer identifies as a masculine stud. And she has changed her physical appearance. She is now feminine presenting, and she is not a lesbian, is what she claims. This interview is taken from the YouTube channel Hardly Initiated, which is hosted by two heterosexual men who are interviewing this former ex-lesbian masculine stud. And they titled their video, "Why Sophia Ruffin Started LGBTQ Lifestyle and Became Masculine Stud." So that's their title. I will be doing my lesbian reaction video. And my name is Giselle Wallace. I provide my lesbian perspective here on my YouTube channel. And if that interests you, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like and share the video. And I thank you for being here today. I will periodically stop the video and give my reaction, and this is for the purposes of reacting to what the former ex-lesbian masculine stud is basically informing the host as well as the audience of this YouTube channel of Hardly Initiated. And I will proceed. She is explaining why she started living the LGBTQ lifestyle, because that's how they referred it. She was in the LGBTQ lifestyle and became a masculine stud. And by that title alone, it lets me know that they believe that something occurred that caused her to turn into a lesbian, and something caused her to become a masculine stud. And I say they because I'm referring to the host of Hardly Initiated, because they made the title of the video, but also the lady in the video, Sophia, based on her revealing why she is no longer an ex-lesbian stud, she will reveal to you how she believes she was a lesbian and a masculine stud and no longer identifies as such.
Just after having a conversation with my mom about it, or just about, my life, I asked her a question, which was like, I was like, Mom, why do you think it's been so much warfare on my life? Like, why does the devil hate me so much? This was like before salvation type. And my mother ended up telling me that when she got pregnant with me, she took these pills called Humphrey 11s. She already had a daughter, she had a son, she didn't want no more kids. At that time, Humphrey 11s was considered like an abortion pill for the abort your seed. And so she said that she had took multiple pills because she was like, man, I do not want another baby. I don't want another child. And so this is where I believe, with my understanding now, that rejection was shown in the womb. Like I wasn't wanted, so I'm a failed abortion. And so a lot of that of not being wanted started at conception. Now, how that thought and that idea, of course, we hear a lot of people say you're born into sin, shaped into iniquity, but the seed of rejection and abandonment was in the womb. And my mother said this, she said, but the more she tried to take these pills to get rid of me, the harder I was kicking in her belly. And she kept saying, now these pills working for everybody else. All my friends are saying these Humphrey 11s are effective. This baby refused to die. And so the more she tried to abort me, she couldn't. And so when I say at birth, as I think about it now, that rejection was sown. And so even the first time that I kind of could recognize this attraction, this is how, and I just want to gently say it, the distortion that I thought happened in third grade when I recognized it, like a little kid. And that affection that I knew was for a teacher. You know, of course, you don't have language for it. You're not like, oh, I'm gay, or you don't have vocabulary. All I knew was this teacher would spend time doing my hair. Because again, at that time, my dad in and out of prison, you know, so he's in and out of my life anyway. Great man when he's around, but he was in and out. My mom, your typical hard working woman who had to work a lot of hours. So she's in and out of the home. And so the affection, not a lot of it was there. And so I remember this teacher really taking on this role of helping me with my hair, talking to me because I was really bad. Like I was terrible, off the chain. And she would always speak kindly of me. And I was like, I like her. And I just remember having these feelings of, I like her. Didn't have language yet, but that's how far back I can trace. How is it that at such a young, vulnerable age, without language, I knew that there was something there. And because I always say this, the enemy don't play fair. So before I had language for it.
To all my soldiers, we are knee deep in.
All right, so Sophia is, of course, the young lady speaking with the pink blouse on, and she gave her reason why she thinks she became a lesbian and a masculine stud lesbian. And she said something that stood out to me. She said before she knew God, she went to her mother and she asked her mother, why does the devil hate me? Why is my life so difficult? Her mother proceeds to tell her that when she conceived her, meaning it when the mother conceived Sophia, the mother did not want another child. So she let her know that she tried to unalive her child by taking some type of pills, and it did not work. So Sophia said that because her mother tried to unalive her while she was in the womb, she believes that rejection is the reason why she became a lesbian. She also said that she started to like a school teacher. I believe she said she was in the third grade. So this is a female school teacher who was really nice to her. And she said, I like her. And she said that she didn't have any language for what she was experiencing. But this is her first account of realizing that she was attracted to a woman as a little girl. And she views this liking for this woman who is her teacher is due to the fact that her mother did not want her. And also she mentioned her father being in and out of her life. And I will say this young lady, although she experienced rejection, she did not know that she was not supposed to be here because her mother tried to unalive her while she was in her womb. She found this out because she came to her mother and she asked her mother, why is her life so hard? Why does the devil hate her? So this young lady associated her mother not wanting to have her because she didn't want another child for whatever reason as being the reason why she is a lesbian. But I noticed that she never mentioned anything about she was a lesbian at the time when she asked her mother, why is her life so hard? She mentioned she was a lesbian when she first was attracted to her school teacher. The reason why I'm saying this is because this lets me know that this young lady, Sophia, had no issue with being a lesbian because she didn't say that to her mother. What she said was, why is the devil attacking me? She didn't say that she was a lesbian at the time. She said she later on learned she was a lesbian by her school teacher in the 3rd grade. And she now associates, since she found out by asking her mother, why is her life so hard? Her mother said she tried to unalive her. So now Sophia feels rejected. But she didn't know that that was her mother's plan until her mother revealed it to her. So how can Sophia have feelings of rejection without knowing that her mother attempted to unalive her? So, in other words, you don't know anything unless it's revealed to you. And so, of course, hearing such a horrific story from her mother, because she was a young child, hearing that her mother didn't want her, of course, that's devastating. Of course, she's going to feel rejected. But she associates this information as being the reason why she's a lesbian. But she had no issue with being a lesbian because she didn't state that she likes girls. I know she didn't have the language at the time because she was young, but she didn't say anything about, oh, I like girls. Why is my life so hard? I don't want to like girls. Her having whatever difficulty she was having, she said her mother was always at work. Her mother wasn't really affectionate. Her father was in and out of her life. So that was Sophia's issue, not being a lesbian. But yet she wants to associate information she found out from her mother, which devastated her. Now she associates that as the reason why she became a lesbian. And I'll proceed.
To stay disciplined in the
There was something that was there that I was feeling, and it was for the same sex.
Wow.
I
Wow.
never thought about that because, at a young age, you start having those feelings in your body. You don't
But it's
know how to talk
undefined,
about it.
right.
It's undefined. It's all new. But this now came to a teacher.
Because you got these other adults who are, caregivers for you as well, and they operating in and out your life. You're spending tons of time with them, and I just never thought of that possibility of developing, these kind of feelings.
And
Oh, sorry.
No,
you good. So
you could jump in because just to preface this, we talked about last time how a lot of times these unstable homes, it puts the children in these strange environments, whether it's because, it's a single parent household, so the mom needs some help. So now we bring in extra babysitters in, the child staying with extra, around other children that are bringing their influence onto the child at
Or
a very early age.
it could potentially be strange because you might be getting a little bit more love and affection and attention in those other places as well. So it's not always, because it's you going into another or a different toxic environment.
That's true. So this environment here that you got brought into, Sophia, just to be clear, was this like after school where this was all happening for you? This was during school?
So this during school, and I want to keep putting emphasis because as we talk and we journey through, the main emphasis that I want to point out is the enemy do not play fair. So you look at the rejection in the womb, the abandonment, then the dysfunction of parents, where mom working, dad in and out of the home, the dynamics, right? And so now a teacher who is very innocent, this doing recess, this doing just taking care of making sure I'm good. So the distortion of that, I was interpreting her taking care of me, giving affection, which was very pure affection, and just making sure that as a child I'm good. But because the enemy don't play fair, there goes another seed that's sown. Now I'm being accepted or I'm being embraced by a female, a woman. So it wasn't even like, oh, I like other little girls or this or that. Or then in childhood, it was so funny because once these affections start happening, I'm still a child. You know, when you start playing house,
Yep.
you playing house with people on the block, you playing house with.
All right, I'm going to pause right there because this again confirms that her issue was her mother wasn't actively involved in her life. She didn't get the attention she needed from her mother. Her mother was always working. She didn't know that her mother had plans to unalive her while in the womb until she actually went to her mom and asked her, why is her life so hard? Why does the devil hate me? So she associates, and she's saying this repeatedly, saying the devil doesn't play fair. She, meaning Sophia, associates the devil distorting the innocent affection of the teacher, showing her attention and being kind to her. This caused her to like this woman, meaning Sophia, the child, started liking this woman. So she views that as the devil not playing fair. She's saying that the teacher was innocent in her being kind to her, but Sophia's saying as a child, she started being attracted to her, having same-sex attraction at this point. And she thinks and interprets that as the devil not playing fair. So Sophia does not think that having same-sex attraction is innocent and pure. If you notice, she said that the teacher's affection was pure. And yes, it was. But Sophia thinks that her affection for this woman, who is her teacher, is not pure and holy. But a child loving someone or being attracted to someone, there's nothing wrong. There was no issue. But Sophia, somehow interpreted it as an issue. But her real issue was she felt neglected. She felt abandoned by her mother. But she didn't know this until after she found out. So what really was bothering Sophia is the fact that her mother was always gone, not affectionate, not around. Her dad was in and out of her life. Those are her real issues. But she's focused on being a lesbian as the problem. And then the host on Hardly Initiated, they're just feeding into whatever she tells them. They're like, oh, yeah, I didn't know that. That makes sense. If you go to school and if you're around all of these different strange people and they're showing you affection, that is going to cause the devil to come into your life and make you turn into a lesbian. That's pretty much what they're saying. And then the other host said, or you can have somebody come in your life that treats you real nice and shows you all this affection, and then that'll turn you into a lesbian. But none of that makes any sense. If somebody is showing you kindness and being loving towards you, why does that have to be perceived as a problem or an issue to turn you into a lesbian just because your biological parents weren't giving you that same attention and love and affection? If you receive love and attention and affection from someone, it is pure, it's innocent, and that does not cause somebody to turn into a lesbian. But that's exactly what Sophia is saying, and the host are agreeing with her. So this is really distorted. Not what she thinks is the distortion, which she says the devil didn't play fair and caused her to start liking a woman. No, she's distorted in her awareness and knowledge that her teacher showing her love and affection, yes, it was holy. Yes, it was pure. It was kind. And in return, that's how she learned that she was attracted to women. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There was no problem with her being attracted to this woman and also feeling loved by this woman, because there's nothing that happened between that interaction that you could say was gross or perverted. I'll proceed.
Kids in the neighborhood, I couldn't, now that I'm remembering, I was never the mom. I was always, you be the dad and she be the mom. Now I'm a little girl. So at that time, we're not even looking at, identity at that time being more masculine. I'm a little kid. So playing house, all of these things start happening. I'm playing the role of the dad. And this is in childhood. Never with me wanting to be with boys on the block, but playing house with other little girls. And I'm playing the role of the father. Yeah. And so when I look at all of this in childhood, all the way into even still being a child, I got exposed to sports, basketball. Now, I'm playing basketball. Now I got a cousin who was older than me. That's why you also have to be careful who around your kids, who is now starting to bring me vocabulary. Now, mind you, at this time, I don't know nothing about lesbians, dykes, butches, gay, don't have language. Now the language was introduced to me from a cousin who was older. He was like, look at that tomboy. She a dyke. She a lesbian. Was comparing me to my other cousin. I had another cousin that was very pretty, long hair. Now, at this time, I'm just a little kid, wanting to play basketball. Now I'm getting language for it. So the curiosity of what is that? What is this? So then during my, of course, playing basketball and all of this, now I'm looking for what is that? And I'm exposed to the language. And now that's kind of how it was starting to be developed. It's just wild.
No.
Okay, so she started talking about, when you're a child and you're playing all these different games. There was a game back when we were kids called playing house. So she's talking about her childhood. She said when she was playing house with the other kids in the neighborhood, she always played the dad. So that was what was natural for her. But she, nobody forced her to go play with the kids and play house. Nobody forced her to be the dad. That's what she did because she enjoyed doing it. If you recall, when you were a child and you were playing games, you would just play and you would just enjoy what part you were playing. So she's playing the dad because that's how she was able to associate herself to in the game of playing house. And that wasn't taught to her. That's what she wanted to do. She identified very young with her masculine energy as a young child. But she wants to associate that as being a distortion, as being a issue. Then she later on says that she started playing basketball because she wanted to play basketball. Nobody forced her to play basketball. It was what she wanted to do. So she starts playing basketball. Then she mentions that her male cousin, because she says she had a male cousin who was older than her, and he started calling her a tomboy. She's like a lesbian. She's like a stud. So she said at that point, she did not know those words, meaning she didn't know the language of lesbian, stud, etc. Her male cousin taught her that. So she said she was wanting to know more about it, meaning obviously she wanted to learn more about what it meant. And she said that's how she started realizing that she's a lesbian, because of her cousin introducing the word of lesbian stud to her. Well, her playing basketball was something that she was naturally drawn to because she was interested in it. Same as when she was playing house as a little girl. She could have played the mother, she could have played the child, but she chose to play the father because that's what she automatically gravitated to. Yes, when you are a child, you don't know the language. You don't have to know the word lesbian, gay, stud. But those are very new words. Language is ever changing. There wasn't always a fixed word to describe same-sex attraction. But you know you're a same-sex attracted person before anyone tells you, because you have the feelings and you have the desire. And Sophia clearly had those feelings and desires, because she said she was attracted to her school teacher when she was in the 3rd grade. So it was there. It was there without her male cousin telling her that she was a stud or a lesbian. But she's making it out to be that she recognized that she was gay because her male cousin taught her the language. But no, Sophia was always a lesbian, masculine stud before her male cousin told her. So it's almost as if Sophia does not want to accept that she already knew she was a lesbian. She wants to deflect and make it seem like people on the outside are the ones that caused her to turn gay. She blamed her mother because she said her mother didn't want to have another baby, which was her, and she tried to get rid of the baby. But before Sophia knew that, she didn't have a feeling of rejection. She only started feeling rejection after her mother told her this information. And then she blames the devil, saying the devil distorted her affection for a woman who was her teacher because her teacher was kind to her. So that's how she started having same-sex attraction. And then thirdly, she said she wanted to start playing basketball. And then her male cousin, who is older than her, and I believe she said he played basketball, he was the one who taught her the language of lesbian and stud. So then she's blaming him for the reason why she's a lesbian masculine stud, because he taught her the language. But no, Sophia was already those identities before anyone spoke to her about it. And that lets you know it's innate. It's not anything that you're taught. But she wants to give everybody else the blame as to why she was who she was. And she rejected herself is basically what she did.
But first of all, I always said this, and I don't know, I mean,
Starting to be developed that, and I'm exposed to the language, and now that's kind of how it was starting to be developed. It's just wild.
No. But first of all, I always said this, and I don't know how many people are going to like this, but first of all, I would not put my daughter in basketball.
Because of the culture?
I truly believe there's really, like, I don't know what it is. There's some spirit of like homosexuality in the basketball.
My sister played basketball her entire life, and it is a lot of that.
Oh, I played basketball too in high school, and when they was telling me was going down on that bus.
On the bus, at the hotels, just story after story.
If you've been injured in a recent car.
All right, so as you can see, they're now basically listening to her. The male host, Harley initiated. And she explained the language, meaning the language of finding out about lesbian, gay, stud, came from her male cousin who was older than her, and he played basketball. So she said all of that is pretty much what influenced her and caused her to be a lesbian, masculine stud. And then if you notice, the host from Harley initiated, the men, he said something which was very homophobic. He said that he would not allow his daughter to play basketball because he believes there's a homosexual spirit that is around when girls play basketball. That is ludicrous. But yet, Sophia, being a woman, she's speaking to heterosexual men about her experience of being a lesbian, which she says she no longer is a lesbian now. And of course, they're men. They don't know what a woman experiences or a lesbian woman experiences because they're men. And they're heterosexual men. And they clearly already are opposed to homosexuality or lesbianism, because he said he would never let his daughter play basketball because there's a spirit of homosexuality. And then they go into talking about, oh, we heard all of these stories about what happens on the bus, what happens in the hotel room, referring to lesbians who play basketball. They're associating everything in a very derogatory manner. They view or associate playing basketball as a woman will lead to being a lesbian. And I've heard this for personally in the past. I always would hear people say very derogatory statements such as, oh, you better not play basketball because those girls are going to turn you out. They're going to turn you into a lesbian. So Sophia allowed those men to have that confirmation from her telling the story about her playing basketball and being a former lesbian masculine stud. So now they really believe it's true. And when a woman talks to a heterosexual man, if he already has a disdain for masculine studs who are lesbians who play basketball, you're just basically confirming to him that he's justified in thinking that way. And these ex-lesbians, they will pretty much big up heterosexual people and heterosexual men to make them feel, in a sense, validated, because now they really know or believe that there's no such thing as a lesbian. And these heterosexual men ultimately want to know they have access to all women. They want to have access. This going on is just basically letting these heterosexual men, because it's not just the host, it's thousands and thousands of people who are able to view this video. As of now, it's like over 2,000 views on this just short clip. But I believe there's like a 2-hour full interview of 2 different ex-lesbians. And if you want to see that, you can go to their channel. But there's so many people who are viewing this, and it's like they're doing cartwheels because they're just so happy to know that there's no real lesbians. We have access to them. And these so-called ex-lesbians, they are contributing to lesbian erasure. And they are a problem because they make it seem as if being a lesbian is always rooted in something negative, something toxic. And in her case, Sophia was saying it was a distortion of the devil. So they over spiritualize sexuality and sexual orientation, because the devil has nothing to do with the fact that you wanted to go play basketball or that you liked your school teacher. Of course, you're going to like your school teacher because she was kind to you. And you being attracted to her, that's not something that was negative or dirty. You're attracted to another person. Why is that a distortion from the devil? And then she wants to blame her mother not being active in her life and her father being in and out of her life as the reason why that she's a lesbian. But early on, she never said that, oh, Mom, I'm having attractions to my teacher, or I'm having attractions to women, and this is making my life miserable. No, what she explained was making her life miserable was that she didn't get the attention and the affection that she wanted from her mother. And that was her problem, not being a lesbian. But now she's totally said, oh, being a lesbian is a distortion from the devil. And my male cousin, he taught me the language. And then that turned me ultimately into a lesbian. Maybe if I didn't hear my cousin tell me I was a lesbian or stud, then, oh my God, I would be heterosexual. You know, These ex-lesbians, they're fake and they're phony, and they are misleading many people into believing that lesbianism does not exist. And they're also contributing to a lot of the drama and the issues that lesbians have with heterosexual men, because we constantly get harassed by heterosexual men because they don't really think that we are lesbians. I hope that these so-called ex-lesbians will one day realize that denying yourself is not holy. They think that if they claim to be ex-lesbian, that God will love them and accept them. But they're also wanting acceptance and love from another person. And in this case, Sophia's case, is she wanted love and acceptance from her mom and her dad. You have to find and seek self-love. You cannot rely on another human being to fulfill you, because you will never be able to fully accept yourself. And that's being shown and proven by her getting on this hardly initiated show and denouncing herself as a lesbian, all because she didn't feel like she was loved enough. You must love yourself. God is love. God loves you. God teaches you to love yourself. And you can't depend on anyone, even if it's your mother or your dad. You can't rely on any human being to love you, because they will fail you every time. And you'll end up not loving yourself. And unfortunately, Sophia and so denying the fact that they are lesbians. They're denying the fact that they're lesbians, all because they don't really know how to love themselves. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am Giselle Wallace, lesbian life coach and author. Take care of yourselves.